Hi, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency.
All right, hello, everybody. Grady Polson, welcome to the America Agency. So excited to have Kendall Clark on with us today. There are people who are good at this business. There are people who are great at this business. And there are people who are the best at this business. And Kendall Clark in 2025 was the absolute best at this business. And I say that because Kendall was given an award on stage by our CEO in front of 7,000 people just this past Friday night award ceremony for being the #1 agency manager for persistency. And Kendall doesn't manage a team of 80,000 a month. He doesn't manage a team of 300,000 a month. His team in December did $630,000 a month, final expense IUL, and his persistency is over 96%. That's an A, right? That's an A. That's an A. So, some of you guys are out there fighting for your 70%, arguing with the carriers when you drop to 68%. How about you just listen in, right? How about you get your agents on here to find out what Mr. 96 is doing? And I'm so excited to have him on here today. I'm a long time coming, but also at the same time, I know he's got the thunder he's going to bring because he's doing something different because he's the absolute best in our company. And we are the best company in the industry. So you are right now about to hear something special. So buckle up, listen up. Mr. Kendall Clark, how you doing today, brother?
Man, Grady, I'm unbelievable, man. I'm still on the Ohio conference. This is my 5th one, and I'm just excited to share here with the team. But I got to say this. This was a team effort. We could not do that without the other leaders I have on the team. I don't want to name anybody. Matter of fact, I will. Crystal Clark, Corinne Giles, Leslie Schofield, Tishla McNeil, Brandon Finley, those leaders, Kareem Ramos, those, if it wasn't for them and the other people on the team, we would not hit 96%. So definitely got to shout out my team.
I love it, man. Well, good, as we should, because that's how we got here. So what I would love, people find this business different ways. People have different backgrounds, of course. And just to give some background, I'd love for you to kind of get us up to insurance, get us up to the past couple of years, catch us up. What's your background, where you came from, family, et cetera. We always like to know who you are so then we can know why you work so hard, right? That's the thing. Why do you work so hard?
Man, I work so hard, man, because I had a lot of failures in my past. I'll be 53 next month. And when I got introduced to insurance, actually, I looked at a company with 3 letters back in 2016. Made sense, just didn't make sense for me. So when I got reintroduced to insurance, at the time I was actually an actor, a paid actor. Did commercials for Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shields, CarMax ads, University of Virginia, everything you can name under the sun. Also was a motivational speaker, speaking to high school kids all across the country, and as well as a co-author of 2 books with Les Brown being one of the authors, and personal trainer. So I did everything, man. But when I got introduced to insurance, what got me about FFL was I was on a list of a list. I wasn't directly recruited. A friend of mine got involved. He went out, sold some policies in East Los Angeles, realized he don't speak Spanish very well. Actually made $5,000 that day, decided he didn't want to do it. On his list was another young lady who was an accountant. She said, you know what, this is not for me, but I got a friend of mine named Kendall who could kill it. So she called me and said, Kendall, you ever thought about selling insurance? I was like, nah, I don't want to do that because I come from network marketing. I did network marketing. Many of you might know her. My ex-wife is Crystal Clark. We have 2 kids. We're married 21 years. My son takes his state board for radiology tech next month. And my daughter, we actually had a call today. She'll be playing basketball overseas in Portugal this in the spring. She got a master's in 5 years, and I'm proud. So proud dad. But I wanted to do something different because I want to focus more on acting and modeling. So when she said, he's making $60,000 a month, I said, how? And she said, well, they got leads. I said, wait a minute, hold up. You mean they got to talk to people in the grocery store and gas station and PetSmart? He said, yeah, they got leads. He has an office in Newport News, and that's how he's doing it. Would you talk to him? I said, yeah. So I get on the phone with him, and he's telling me how much he's making and sending me the leaderboard, Grady. Back when we used to post the leaderboard, he's sending me these numbers. I was like, what is this? What they make in a month, a year? He said, nah, this is what they make in a week. I said, oh, hold up. I said, how can I get started? I said, how much does it cost? Because I thought it was a cost to get started. He said, nah, it don't cost you anything. I said, what I need to do? He said, send me your email. I'm going to send you this voucher. So got the voucher, December 2018. I started studying. At that time, I was recently separated, going into my divorce, assistant basketball coach for the high school, still acting and modeling. So I never made the test a priority. I kept putting it off. Grady, I paid for the course 8 times, man. I'm talking about it expired. I paid for 60 days. It expired again. I paid for 90 days. Expired again. I paid for 30 days. The problem was I only got on when it was about to expire in like 3-4 days. And then my mentor would call and say, how's the test going? How's the study going? I said, man, I'm doing great. Not knowing he could go in the back office and actually see I hadn't logged in at all. So long story short, man, COVID hit. And before COVID, 2019, I made a vow to myself that I wanted to get this exam done because that Christmas, December 2019, I barely had money to buy Christmas gifts for my kids. And I had my mortgage, but I didn't have any money. So I had to borrow money from my mom and say, hey, I'm going to get this Xbox One, but these video games are expensive. Can you buy this for your grandchild? I hit my brother. Can you get the controller? Because I have the mortgage, but I don't have the rest. So I vowed to myself, I said, you know what? I got to finally take this exam. January goes by, I didn't take it. February doesn't goes by, I didn't take it. And I had some goals on my list. First of the year was to take the exam. Second was to make $10,000 a month. Third was to learn how to play my guitar. You know, I bought a guitar. I saw it on QVC at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah. He said, learn how to play in 30 days. And when you had a couple of adult beverages and you walk in at 2 in the morning, you're like, you know what? I can learn how to play the guitar. So I bought that, never learned how to play it, but that was on my list. So when COVID hit, my gym shut down, Hollywood shut down, speaking shut down because there's no schools. I said, I got to do it. I finally took the exam. I knocked it out, got a 93. It was like a huge weight lifted. I was excited. I was like, what was I scared of? And then my first 6 months, I did about 160 issue paid. And my first full year, I got the Red Jacket Hit Hall of Fame.
Let's go. Let's go, bro.
And one of the reasons I really pushed when I got in, I'm telling agents, I had a why. My why was, it changes, but I was tired of being tired. I was tired of struggling. You know, I was sleeping on my mom's couch. Even though I had a house, my AC leaked and the ceiling collapsed and it damaged my hardwood floors. I had black mold in there. So I had a house that I couldn't sell, couldn't sleep in, and I was struggling. And also my daughter basically had a scholarship for basketball, but there was some other things we had to pay. And I didn't want to have to tell her because the first year we took out a parent loan and my credit was so bad, Grady, it was unscorable. So I couldn't do it for me. Crystal took out the loan, but we had to pay it. And I didn't want to come to her the second year, sophomore year, and say, hey, you know what, baby girl, I know you've been working hard, but I'm sorry, daddy can't afford for you to keep going to this school. Why don't you go somewhere else? And so when I saw insurance, I saw this as the thing I prayed for 25 plus years, my way out. If this money was true, like they were saying they were making, I was like, I'm going to kill it. I didn't talk about it. I just got quiet and I followed my mentor. I knew what I could do based on my work ethic and skill set, but I followed. I just stayed quiet. I'm the type, I'll stay quiet, be humble, but when I kill it, I'm going to talk and when I started killing it, I started talking because I backed up by just being humble. And I was able to pay my daughter's second year of college without having to take out a second loan, pay her master's, pay her third year, pay her fourth year, all because of this business. And that's why I got excited. I just took off. I couldn't tell her no. I didn't want to look her in the eye and say, you've been dreaming about playing college ball. And because of my failures and the things I did wrong, you can't go. And I couldn't let that happen.
Bro, that's powerful. That's so powerful. So you come in, so January, then you pass it 96. What we always say is if you need a 70 and you're in it. If you get a 96, you study too hard, but you got it. You nailed that thing. You crushed it.
Yeah, man. I got it.
So you're getting going, and what were the kind of first leads you started on? What was that first kind of like?
Man, I don't think these vendors are around anymore. I mean, I'm talking about the Game Time and the Happy Agent. I mean, paying $45 a lead and you get 30 of them. And here's what's crazy. My mentor said, you got to spend $1,000 a week. And I had never met this guy. That's another thing too, Grady. For 2 years, he'd been jumping on me. I never met him. So when I finally passed, I said, I got to come to your office. Go to his office, sit with him. He said, hey, can you spend $1,000 on leads? I'm like, huh? 1,000? I'm like, I got this unemployment coming in. I don't know if I could do that. Now, at the time, the unemployment was pretty good. I was sitting on like 10 or 15. I said, 1,000? I don't know, because I don't know if this thing gonna work yet. So he said, get these Happy Agent leads. I said, I could do 900. He said, all right. So 900 got me 20 leads. I did 900. I saved the whole $100. 15 of them disconnected. I already did it. So I'm like, man, these leads are trash. They terrible. So I went on my first 11 appointments. Because that's when we dialed on Monday to run on Tuesday, dialed on Wednesday, down Thursday to run for the weekend.
Good old days.
Good old days, man. My first 11 appointments, Grady, I did not call for help. I'm building rapport with these clients. I'm building rapport. I'm building rapport, Grady, that the old ladies love me. They giving me bottles of Crown and Ciroc, and I'm leaving there. Come back Friday. I'm going to take care of it there. You sure? Yeah, take what do you want? I'm like, I'm feeling like the man, like this is going to be easy. I'm building great rapport. So my mentor said, why ain't you call from the house? I said, man, you don't understand. They love me. He said, they ain't going to be there Friday. I said, nah, you don't get it, man. He said, nah, you won't get it. You'll see. Wednesday, Kendall came up. I got to take the dog to the vet. Can we get together next Monday? Saturday night, Kendall, I decided I ain't going to do it. I went on 11 appointments where I didn't get a sale. And I was like, you know what? I ain't feeling these leads. And I called my mentor and I said, you know what, man? I ain't feeling these leads. He said, it ain't about what you feel. It's about what's working. It's working for everybody else. Why can't it work for you? So then I called my ex. I said, you know what, Crystal? I'm effing this thing up. I said, it ain't the leads. It's me. I'm in my own way. I think that's a mistake agents make. You get in your own way. So my next appointment, I had to get help closing $26 a month. I went to the lady's house. I went through the policy, financial inventory. It was $10,000 for like $60. She said, well, that's too much, but I think about it. I said, okay, let me call her. I said, let me call my supervisor. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the best product. And I called her and I said, hey, I'm sitting with Miss Johnson, and Miss Johnson just got approved by Americo. She wants to think about it. I just want to make sure I'm putting her in the right direction. Do you mind talking to Miss Johnson? First thing he said to her, Grady, was, Miss Johnson, Kendall had 2 jobs today. One, to find something that fits your needs and your budget. And secondly, get your approval. Now, most times when people want to think about it, it's a cost issue. Is it a cost issue or the value? Did he show you a good value? Yes, he did. So is it the cost? She said, yeah, it's the cost. But Miss Johnson, Kendall can bring it down. So great, I dropped it down to $5,000. It still was like $45. She said, that's a little bit too much. And this is not we can go less than $5,000. I said, Kendall, take it down. I took it down to $2,500. It was like $25.50. She said, yeah, I could do that. She went in the house and got a checkbook. And I said, I had to get help closing $26. I said, you know what? If that's all I got to do is call for help on every one of them, I'm going to kill this. So the next 3 I called for help. I started closing and just took off. I got out my own way.
Bro, there's so much in that I don't even, Kendall. Okay. So you're calling for help. You figured it out.
Yes.
15 of the leads were crap, but then you booked 11 appointments. So you got 26-ish leads, but then you didn't call for help because you thought you could just wing it. And there, anytime you're getting that compliment, it's the compliment close. Like they just, you're the best. I'm going to tell everybody a bridge about you. Give me 5 of your cards. It just doesn't work for us right now, but I want everybody to know about you, Kendall. Right. So our job's to close, right?
Taking home plates. Yeah.
Yes. The message Kendall's delivering here is clients don't buy from friends. If they knew someone, if they probably know someone that might sell life insurance, but they don't want to ask their buddy from church to advise them on their personal matters. They filled out a lead card, requested for someone else to come over so they can keep that separation. Our job is to be the professional. Which is phenomenal. So Okay, so you go year one, you're cranking 160, 170 first year. Now, what did you do second year to get to 400 in Hall of Fame?
Well,
And then
actually,
we'll dig into persistency stuff. But I
yeah,
want to hear,
I got you.
this is
So
important.
actually, it was the first. I started in June of 2020, so it was 6 months. I did 160. So I knew I could hit Hall of Fame. They said 400, and I went to conference. This was back when we did the 7 city tour conference. I spoke in Jacksonville. And there was a guy who was like 21 and he did 500. And I'm sitting on stage beside him. I'm like, my son's 21, 20. I said, that's like admitting my son is better than me. I said, man, ain't no way in hell this dude better than me. Life experience wise, nah. So the following year, because my trajectory was my first June, I did 12,000. July, I did 8. August, I did 18. September, I did 22. October was 27. November was 32. And December was 35. So I knew I could write 30. So I just started writing 30. So I got comfortable grading. And I think this is a mistake a lot of agents make. They get comfortable. I got comfortable issuing 35, 36,000, right under 40, 20-some thousand in deposits. I got comfortable. My bank account growing. I'm not buying anything. I'm investing in the business. I'm paying for recruiting. That's something I spent $3,000 a month on recruiting. My mentor said, hey, you need to get $1. I got added $1. So I had like 12 to 15,000 going out every month. But I was like, okay, I'm pouring it back in. If I have a profit of $7,000 every month, I'm good. Everything else is paid. I got money for taxes. I ain't got no car note. I got my truck. So it was like I was just trucking along. So then I got challenged right about September of 2021. I got challenged and said, you got a 1 first year story. First full year. You got the logo. Why don't you go for Hall of Fame? Now, in September of 21, I was like 2 something. Like it was like 200,000. I was like, I don't know if I'm almost there. I'm good. So then they said, you get a ring with Hall of Fame. I said, a ring? I was in another company. They gave a ring for 100,000. And we never hit 100. We always did like 97, 95. I said, okay, a ring. He said, I'm going to buy you a Breitling watch if you hit 100,000. If you hit Hall of Fame. I said, what? A watch? You going to buy me a Breitling? He said, yeah. He said, you get the bonus with the company. Back then we got bonuses with Hall of Fame. Like $4 or $5,000. This time, I'm like, okay, watch, ring, Breitling. I said, oh, I'm going to do it. I had never hit 50,000 in a month, Grady. Never. It was always like 42. I never done 40,000. It was always 38, 39. So I told myself, I said, what? I keep making a goal to hit 40,000. Why don't I shoot the goal to 50? And in September, I did 42,000. So then October, 50,000. November, 30-some thousand. So I go into December needing 72,000 to hit Hall of Fame. Now, I watched that movie, Mr. 3000, with Bernie Mac.
Oh, yeah.
There was no way I was going to be Mr. 397,980. No. I said, I'm not going to get that close and miss because I'll never try it again. Like, I'm the type, I'd rather fail by a lot than miss it by a little bit. So I said, there's no way I'm going to get that close and miss. So I was 72,000 out. So I already knew that December could be a great month because the previous December, the December before FFL, I barely had $1,500 just to pay my mortgage. Following December, I had 40 grand deposited because I got a Americo bonus and all that other stuff. So I said, you know what? December's a great month because people like to spend. Plus, I come from the gym industry. People spend money in December. So I just wrote, Brady. I'm talking about I wrote, asked for referrals. I worked 7 days a week. I wasn't going anywhere. I told a couple of my agents, don't you need a policy? Yeah, you ain't got no policy. You'll put in yourself, you're going to keep this policy. You're not getting rid of it. So I wrote something cheap on them. I bought a policy for my mom. I told my brother, hey, don't you need another policy? Yeah, man. He still got it today. He got a policy. I said, you know what? My kids ain't got their IULs. Let me go ahead and drop 5,000 in each one of their IULs. They got IULs. I made sure that I was going to hit by any means necessary. And when Ed called me and said, congratulations, and I saw the numbers was full too. So 92 people hit that year. I was number 89. I had just made the cut. And I was excited because I said I did something because I set my mind to do it. And that's what I believe. I tell agents, you don't hit Hall of Fame because you ain't making up in your mind that you really want it bad enough. Because if I could write 200,000 in 3 months, what's stopping you from just knocking it out from January to the end of the year? Because you don't want it bad enough.
That's right, bro. How bad do you want it, guys? It's a whole new year right now. Just going to convention. The company's on fire. Leads are in a great mindset.
Yeah.
It's your choice. How big can you dream? So, Kendall, you're a ball of freaking energy. I absolutely love you, dude. And you paid the price. You came from completely self-made, which is amazing. But now you've blossomed into this incredible leader, right? As an agency manager, a shepherd of people, a guide to those that are nervous and scared. And you're doing such a phenomenal job right now of persistency. So I love it. We could dig in now. What are the Kendall B. Clark's persistency secrets, takeaways, tricks, tactics, whatever, Jake, whatever you've got, whatever you think people can benefit from.
I'm about to tell y'all this. Get ready. Grading. I really believe that a lot of times as agents, we one night stand on our clients, man.
Okay.
One night stand. You sign them up. You don't call them no more. They call you. You like, oh my God, it's about to be a cancellation. You don't answer your phone. You one night stand instead of loving them the whole way through. Now, there's other things that one night stand, you don't call them no more. But y'all do that to your leads. You one night stand them. So what I've taught is that you don't want to be their friend in the beginning, but at the end, you want to be their friend. That's one thing that we always talk about is that people don't buy from friends. When I was a personal trainer, I had clients that will always pay and they won't even lose weight. And I said, look, why are you still paying? Because of the conversation, the communication, the friendship. People don't cancel on friends. They won't sign up with you being a friend, but they won't cancel on you. So one of the secrets I get a chance to share on the stage is, since we always talk about recruiting social media, most of our clients have social media. I say, hey, take out your phone. What social media platforms are you on? Friend your clients on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You know why? Because when they connect with you, they get a chance to see your life. They get a chance to see you're a real person. They get a chance to see, oh, your daughter just graduated from college. I saw that. I saw you just bought your dream car, that Cadillac Blackwing, man. I saw you got the Harley, man. I got one right now. Jose hit me up all the time. I said, yo, man, I heard that sound system in your bike. I saw it on your story. They become your friends. They don't cancel because you become a real person. So when that agent calls your client and tries to tell them, hey, Kendall's not selling life insurance no more, they said, yes, he is. I just saw him at Dallas on stage getting an award. Click up, they're hanging up the phone. Yes, he is. I just saw Kendall, on a Zoom. Yes, he is. They connect with you because they see your life. They see when your daughter gets married. They see that you're doing things. Friend them. Everybody say, I want to be private. I don't want my information. This is 2026. Get out for that private mess. This is 2026. You trying to recruit and do reels on social media. Friend your clients. Another thing, I always put my client's name first, last name, and where it says company on iPhones, I always put the carrier. I teach me to put the carrier. In the notes section, put their policy number and the amount of their premium. So when they call and it pops up, you got America. Or if you sitting on the couch and you bored to death, guess what? You can put America in the search button and bring up all your America clients and sit there and send a blind text saying, hey, this is Kendall, just checking on you and seeing how you were doing. And send it. This is things we was doing before CRMs. You watching football and you just hit all your America. Boom. You go move, hit all your move clients. Hey, this is Kendall, just checking on you. Hey, Corbridge. Hey, this is Kendall, just seeing how you were doing. Transamerica. Hey, this is Kendall, just seeing how you doing. That goes a long way. My first year, I wrote Christmas cards on my clients, Grady. Handwritten Christmas cards. Signed every one of them. By year 2, I said, there's no way I can keep doing this. I was like, I got too many clients. But those things, you become a real person. I don't know how many agents we have up here graded, but I'm pretty sure that many agents have not experienced their first death claim. See, when you're talking to a client, it's an emotional sale. I've had 39 death claims since I've been selling insurance. And I kind of been out in the field the last 2 years. 39. So you don't become a real agent until you get that first one. My first one was a man named Norman. Norman was a Vietnam veteran. He called me beloved. He was like, hey, beloved, how you doing? Go by his house every day. Every time I would go to the office, I would stop by his house to see him. I knew Norman 3 weeks and he died. And it crushed me. Because one, I had to give him Corbridge because he had cancer. But I connected with him because even his nephew said, Kendall, even though we only getting back the premiums, he said, my uncle connected with you so much, you were like a son to him. He wanted you to have this. I only knew the man for 3 weeks because he became more than just a client. He became a friend. So since we doing technology and we don't really get a chance to see him and visit him, let them see parts of your life. I guarantee you, if everybody at FFL friended their clients on social media, like granted, some of y'all gonna have to take some of that stuff off your page or find a new page. But if you friend your stuff on social, don't be political, get that mess out of here. No politics talk, none of that. When your clients see that, everybody at FFL's business would stay on the books. The persistency of the company would explode. You know why? Because nobody's gonna be going behind you canceling your business. And that's the secret, man. I've been talking to my agents to do it. They've been pretty good. Then we track everything, man. We look at, if you don't have a plan or a tracker and tracking your business, how you call yourself running a business if you're not tracking? Then we have admins, they call behind lapse policies, work lists. You see the work list in America, pull up the work list. A lot of those policies you can save. But sometimes we look at it, we see lapse pending, and we don't call it. Sometimes it's just calling, making a phone call. Not saying you're going to save all of them, but you might be able to save some of them. So if you start focusing on persistency within your agency, whatever you focus on, it grows. We focused on annuities last year, big time. If you're not selling annuities, you're missing out. That helps with persistency. You know why? Annuities are 100% non-chargebackable. I only had one chargeback, one annuity. The man died 11 months and 27 days, 3 days before it was a year. But you know what I did? Signed the beneficiary up with the annuity. It kind of washes it out. But those are things, if you focus on, whatever you focus on, it'll grow. If you focus on, I want my agency, I want my agents to make more money, I want to keep more money, then it will grow. So that's the gem, man. Friend of the most social media. People don't quit on friends. They won't cancel. They won't cancel.
Right. So, one, it feels like you treat clients like you would want your family to be treated, like you would want to be treated, right? You run a real business and treat your clients as such, right? It's not a one night stand, which is a phenomenal analogy that I will take into the future. Two questions, and I want to see where this goes. One is, how would you make a lapse pending call? Like, how would you, client wants to cancel for client, you notice they're going to cancel. And then that would be first kind of section. And then section, you shared some stuff on stage real quick that you use at the close of your call, or how to help close business based on savings accounts, et cetera, on how you move that. So just kind of I want to pull as much out of you as I can.
Okay. So as far as that lapse policy, I wouldn't call them like they made a mistake. I would call them and say, hey, you know what, John, I noticed in my records that we didn't get the premium this month. I know we had some issues going on our end. I just want to make sure everything's okay. They say, no, can I find something better? I said, well, I thought I was your agent for life. Remember I said I was your agent for life? Now listen, you got the legacy safeguard. That's something else too. You're not using legacy safeguard, you're missing out. Remember you got the legacy safeguard? It's going to give your family grief counseling. It's going to give the family the ability to put together a will and trust. But you remember I said that I've had 39 death claims? So I don't know what the other agents that you're dealing with, but they ain't good as me. I'm just telling you, because I've been through the process. I know how to tell your client, your daughter, Susan, what to do. She's going to get 2 death certificates. One, she's going to keep for herself. Second, she's going to send with the carrier as we fill out the death claim form together. Now, did the agent that you talked to say that he was going to be able to do that for you? No, not really. So are you canceling because he found you something cheaper? Because we always can find you something else. So let's go ahead and look at what else we got. They're going to assume the sale, man. I'm always going to assume. I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm going to go ahead and find you something better. Or maybe, you know, that connection. Sometimes people forget, but sometimes people just want to save an extra $15, $20. But you got to put the value. These are the things I'm doing for you. I'm not just your agent to sign you up and leave you. I'm your agent to be here the day you die and I get the phone call and your daughter calls me and says, my granddad just died. My mom just died. My sister died. Whatever it is, I'm going to be the person to help handle that because I've done it 39 other times. Now, if you don't have a death claim yet, you can say this. If you don't had one yet, you can legacy safeguard.
How do you use that? How do you sell it, explain it, get your clients activated on it?
I sell it based on like it's part of the policy. So when I'm going through the policy, and I told the agent the same thing, you go through the policy and say, hey, you know, let me tell you what this policy does for you. I don't tell price yet. Let's say, for example, it's Eagle Premier, final expense. All right, so not only are you going to get day one coverage, but you also I qualify you for the most of what you qualify for. Now, granted, this price may not fit your budget, so we always can adjust it here or there. But what you're getting is you're going to pay double for accident. So if you die in an accident, it's going to pay out $80,000 versus $40,000. So it's really an $80,000 value. If you die by common carrier, which is plane, train, your automobile, it's going to pay out $120,000. And if you are terminal, God forbid, they say you got 12 months or less to live, you get a chance to pull this policy as long as you got verification from your doctor. But also what comes with this policy was called Legacy Safeguard. It's going to give your family the ability to contact somebody when you die, like a grief counselor. Let's say, for example, they can't find my information, but you contact Legacy Safeguard. They'll contact me so that way I can help your daughter go through the whole process. Now, another thing you're going to get is going to give you the ability to start working on what do you want to leave your daughter? What memoirs? What story do you want to write? I started working on my own, and I'll be honest with you, I got emotional because they asked me, what family heirlooms you want to leave your son? What do you want to leave your daughter? Like, what stories do you want to tell? I started writing in it. I started getting emotional. Plus, I had a little glass of wine. I said, nah, this ain't the night for this. But I'm telling you, it'll break you down to really have you think about, what do I want my kids to remember? It's like a journal, a love letter you leaving to your kids. That comes with this membership, this policy. Now, outside of cost, is there anything else you need to know? And I get quiet. They say, no. How much is it? It's $300 a month. You know what? I figured that. Like I said, we're going to adjust it. Bring it down to $25,000. Is $225. Is that better for you? Yeah, that's good. All right, who do you bank with? Now, go ahead and read the account number when you're ready. I got the route number. I'll look up the route number and I'll read it back to them. Is that the route number you have? All right, go ahead and read me your account number. Yeah, it's done.
Moving, bro. So give us the savings line. That was
cool. So I learned that, with post dating will kill you. Back in the day, Grady, you remember everybody was post dating.
Everybody, 31 days out, as far as you can.
It was killing you. So my thing, and I'm gonna share this, why you don't want to post date. Do you want to have a conversation when somebody calls you and says, hey, my grandmother just died, and I saw she had your digital business card. It was in her phone. So you must be your insurance carrier. And he's like, yeah, what's your grandmother's name? You going through, because you should have her stuff. Oh, Lulabelle Jenkins? Yeah, Miss Jenkins. Oh. They're like, what do you mean? Oh. Well, her policy is not effective until February the 15th. But, so what does that mean? So how do I get the death certificate, the death money? Because I see that she got $30,000. How do I get it? Well, her policy is not effective February 15th because, I post-dated to this. So what do you mean? You post-dated. How do I get the money? there's no money because I posted. Are you ready to have that conversation? Can you seriously say that you would be comfortable having a conversation and telling that family member, that loved one who lost a person that was precious to them, that you were not a good agent and you post-dated to March 1st? Instead of telling the client, what are you comfortable paying today? Or if you do what I said in the beginning part, are you a saver or a spender? Most of my clients save, $100 a month, 150, 200. Is that you? Yeah, I save. So what do you have in your savings account right now? If you line it up in the beginning, I'm going to ask you questions about your health and your finances to find the best thing for you. Life insurance ain't based on what you want. It's based on what your health will qualify you for. Therefore, I'm going to ask you these questions. So when I ask what's in their savings account, I've already told them, I'm asking you questions about your health and your finances. So they tell me, they're saying, I got like $3,000 in savings. Now, the ones that don't tell you, they're the ones that ain't got no money. Because when people got money, they quick to tell you how much they got in the bank. They quick say, oh man, I got like 20,000. I got 500,000. Okay. What you got in checking? Nothing. I got like $10 in checking. So then when we get to the end, they definitely no post dates. Well, can we date this till March the 1st? No. The first payment coming out in 24 to 48 hours. So go ahead and transfer money from this account and put it into your checking account. Now, if you want it to be on the 1st of the month, after this process as it goes through, we can always change your reoccurring date. But this will go out today being Thursday. It probably draft on tomorrow. Okay. Lead and direct. Just tell them what to do. Just lead and direct. They want to be told what to do, like Sean Mike said on stage. Clients want to be told what to do. They want to be told. And you got to close them on the first time. We're doing one call closes. You cannot call them back the next day. Here's an example. Grady, you remember when Avengers came out, the first one? First time they had everybody together? Well, my kids were little. They said, Daddy, we going to see Avengers on Friday? I said, yeah, we are. I couldn't wait. I work at the gym, movie theater right next door. So Friday morning, I go to Avengers. It's the scene when Captain America tells David Banner, he said, hey, tells Bruce, he said, hey, Bruce, you need to get angry. And he turns around, he turns into the Hulk, he punches that thing. He said, I'm always angry. I was like, oh, snap. So I watched it, Hulk smash, and he was smashing everything. I was like here. So when I went to see it with my kids, I had to try to take my excitement level back up to here like I had never saw it. You get your clients to here, talking about death, talking about what it's going to look like if they don't qualify, up to here. And then you call them back tomorrow. They're never going to get back up to here. Have you ever been fishing and you caught a fish and you got the fish almost up out the boat or almost up the pier and that fish falls off? Does that fish ever come back and get on that hook? That fish like, nah, man. And he telling his boys, don't go over there. My mouth got ripped. So your client is not going to get back on the phone with you tomorrow or next week when the excitement they were here. If you don't get them the same day, you will never get them back. When you watch a movie the first time, you never had the excitement you had the second time and the third time and the fourth time. You never get it back. So one call closer.
I love it, dude. This is legit wisdom. So, all right, all these touch points from the Facebook social, Christmas cards, so many things to button it up. What are you doing or what are you coaching agents do today on the close? Like, what is I sold Miss Mary, we got you taken care of. What are the last 30 seconds of words? And then what are the actions that are happening from you, your office, or your best agents to have your what can these guys start to implement? Because they're about to implement a ton of one call closes.
Okay.
And lead and direct. I mean, what's in your savings account? What's in your checking? Like, dude, there's so much gold that has come out of this that we just don't ever know to ask. Kendall showed up and told us a new way to think. So what should we be doing that last 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and what are we doing?
After you get the close and you got the sale, I always send my business card. A lot of times, I'll be honest with you, Grady, I don't send my business card in the beginning, the NPN number and all that crap. I don't do none of that. I'm right into Whitey did it. When I get finished, now my agents do send their stuff in the beginning. I send my stuff in the end. So I'll send it with my NPN number. I don't have a fancy digital business card. I got my old business card that I took a picture of and I save it in my phone as favorite. And I send that with my NPN number on it. And then I also say, hey, it was a pleasure working with you today. I'm going to contact you in the next couple of days. A lot of my agents, I'm teaching that they're starting to follow up. Like they reach out to them the next day, but then they follow with them like 2 to 3 days. But if they send out the legacy safeguard right afterwards, they're going to get an email saying they got the legacy safeguard. Because legacy safeguard comes out quick. But I also taught my agents to put one on yourself. Like sign up for legacy safeguard for yourself. I got my cards in my wallet. I got 2. You get one for yourself and get one to, somebody else that you trust. But you should have legacy safeguard for yourself. That way you can talk more about it. So those are the contact points. Then most of them have a CRM. So they slide the automation over to Sold. For those who don't have CRM, they track it. They call them within a week to make sure they got their policy. If they're doing Americo, e-app where it's a digital policy, they're getting on the phone with them to help them open it, in a couple of days, because they'll get an email their policy to open it to make sure that they have it, they know where it is. Because a lot of times clients are canceled because they'll say, I never got anything. They got an email to them. Did you tell them they got email? And even some of the ones who ask for email, if you do email, I still ask, do you want a hard copy? And they'll say, yeah. So we'll reach out, and I had a couple of agents do it today in the office. They went on, they emailed Americo, their policy number, said, hey, can this be emailed? Can you mail an actual booklet to a client? So even though they might do digital, they get a physical book. Because if that person dies, who has access to the email?
True.
That's one reason I think a lot of carriers, like I hate to say this name, but Ethos. I think I had an Ethos policy. Man, that thing looks so cheap. And I had clients canceling because it's a piece of paper they get in the mail, don't look like nothing. So if they're getting it in their email, they'll say, hey, I never got a policy, but 150 been coming on my account every single month. Because it's probably in spam and they didn't know they were getting a actual digital copy. So make sure you tell them, hey, you're going to get a digital copy. But if you want a physical copy, which one do you prefer? And they say mail, do mail. And they say digital, do digital anyway, and then still have one mail to them. That way they got both.
You make $1,000 in 45 minutes and potentially lose 30% of those sales, or you can spend an hour, 45 minutes to the sale, 15 minutes to do client care, and keep 96% of those policies. That's what I'm hearing, Kendall. You just care more than everybody else out there.
Well, man, it's not about what we make, it's about what we keep. You got to keep it. And I told Sean the other night, the awards thing with Frank, I said, as much as I want to grow fast, now granted, it took us time to get to 500,000, 600,000 a month. But I will say that, out of the agents we've recruited, we got a retention rate of like 80-some%. They stay on. But I don't want to lose the persistency just to grow fast.
Correct.
I'd rather, and I'll track right now, and I've already tracked it, Chat GBT. I'm looking at FFL. They're going to do 1.4. Right now, we 0.63 of FFL's total volume. So we do the same 0.63, we'll be at 10 million. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can we go to 15 million? Well, we can go to 15 million if we do if we do 1.8% growth, which means we got to grow by 0.7, 0.8 on top of the points. So it's like I'm already tracking. Can we get there? I know we can get there. Same thing with our annuity volume. We went from 2 million last year to 25. We did 11. That's a 500% growth. So in my head, I'm like, okay, we could do 50 million in annuities. We definitely can. Because the agents is talking about it. What you focus on will grow. We focus on persistency, it grew. We focus on, and here's what's crazy, Grady. I ain't telling anybody this. In January, you know how last year America was terminating agents? 12 of my top agents got terminated for persistency. and we still got 96%. So I told the rest, I said, look, obviously the things we implemented have helped us become number one.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're definitely right. Also, those agents are writing bad business. They ain't no longer here either.
Sure.
They ain't
Sure.
here.
50 million, you get that orange jacket that Andrew had. That's the new thing.
Yeah.
So,
50 extra large.
that last thing, where can people access Legacy Safeguard? What's your process for that?
Legacy Safeguard, university.com.
Legacy Safeguard University. Go there, get your own, learn how to enroll your clients into it. And dude, that's such a valuable, like that piece when you're like, all of a sudden we got off the sale. Now all of a sudden I put my client into Legacy Safeguard. They're getting an immediate message saying your agent, Kendall Clark, just got you signed up for this. Like there's validation. They even get a tangible card in the mail, right?
Yeah, they sure do. Got it in my wallet.
Yep. Tangible card. And that just increases credibility, reduces sales pressure, creates value for you as the agent. So they're not going shopping around trying to find something from some company that they're just buying off the internet. They don't have a custom agent. Look how clean that is. Clean. And it's free to us because we are under the integrity umbrella. It's an integrity product they give out for free. So Kendall, send us home. Final thoughts you got for this agent group out here who's trying to just get right, brother. What do you got?
Man, my final thoughts is this, Grady. I'm going to say this. I don't know how many of you were at conference and you saw everybody walking the stage and you told yourself, I'm going to be up there next year. I'm going to get Hall of Fame, but you ain't even registered for conference. How you going to go Hall of Fame and you haven't registered? So my challenge is this, two challenges. One, register now for conference. Get it done. You can't say I'm going to get the red jacket and you ain't registered. The second thing, get a policy on yourself. There's a lot of agents out here selling life insurance and you don't have a policy. I got like 6 of them. So I got like 1.5 million in coverage, trying to get more. But I started out getting insurance because my father passed away and I didn't have any. And I thought, hit my head, I was like, you know what? I got a wife and 2 kids. What if I die? Just like your clients, they're thinking about they lost a loved one, but I lost my dad. He was like my man. I saw him all the time. I wear his ring every day. And when he passed away, as I'm crying in the street, it hit me like, I don't think I got anything. And I got coverage. I started out small, and as I started I started adding more. So put a policy on yourself, because your conviction level will rise, because it asks you got that policy? You can actually say yes without lying to people. Conference, policy on yourself. It'll change your business. Conference definitely business.
Light it up, guys. 96. Throw 96 to my man Kendall Clark with 96% agency persistency. Thank you, Kendall. You're a treasure, dude. I can't wait to see you blow it up. 10 million Hall of Fame agency. Freaking record-setting annuities. Keep that persistency high. Clark family is going to be eating good this year, brother. I love it, man. So happy for you. Great to connect. And thank you for everything you shared to us. This is, it's simple, but when you put it together, you're like, I ain't doing, you do them all. And guess what? Watch your business explode. Watch your profitability explode. And I couldn't be more thankful for you jumping on with us today. Thank you so much, bro.
Hey, thanks, Grady. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
All right, man. Have an amazing day. All right, everybody. You heard from Kendall. Get registered. FamilyFirstLife.com/annual convention is the new link. We'll push it out here this week. And get yourself registered. It couldn't be more true, right? Connect and commit to something in the future. It anchors you forward, pulls you towards it, and puts you in a position where you stop thinking and hoping and start already having plans and dreams to be there. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your time. Absolutely so grateful to be at this company. I hope you are too. And convention was remarkable. So one more time, let's run it back. This week, this is your moment of Zen. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
And now, please welcome your annuity panel with host John Gavin and panelists Jonathan Salinas, Kendall Clark, Allison DePasqua, Tierre Brown, and Austin Becker.
All right, thanks, guys. My name is John Gavin. I am more than honored to be able to share the stage with some of the top annuity producers that we have in the company here. But the one thing I want to be clear about is these are great people, but they're not special. Well, they're special in other ways, but in this business, anyone can do what we do. And I know that annuities are there's only 5% of our writing agents write annuities right now, and so we're trying to pump those numbers up. And there's a few reasons for that, but I hope that after these next 3 days, you're going to learn a lot about the products themselves, how we find them, and some cool things the company's doing later on. But I hope that all of you guys leave here after these 3 days just wanting to go find one. Just go find one. It does not matter if you're 80. It doesn't matter if you're 18 years old. Annuities changed my life. I started in this business. I know a lot of you guys struggled to get here this weekend. When I came to my first conference, I was so broke. I paid everything I could to get airfare, the hotel, and had no money for food, so I brought 2 cases of protein bars. So if you guys are struggling and you want to get a jump start on your career, look for annuity opportunities and then ask for help. We have such a great support system here at Family First Life. Your job is just go find the opportunities, ask for help, take the knowledge you're going to get from these folks here, take it into the field with you, find those opportunities, ask for help, see the process, and understand how easy these products really are. My first annuity that I closed when I was broke, I got paid more than I did in the previous year. And so they do make a difference. And so we're gonna go through these people. You're gonna learn a little bit here. You're not gonna learn everything you need to know, but leave this place wanting to know more and wanting to find your first one, because we all started there. Okay. I'm gonna start with Thierry. So Thierry, we're talking about annuities, fixed index annuities. That's our bread and butter on the annuity side. Why don't you explain to these folks, what exactly is a fixed index annuity and who is our target audience?
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for having me, of course. Keep it simple. Think of a fixed index annuity simply as a long-term contract between the individual and the insurance company, who's strategizing it simply for retirement, for growth. Now, granted, there are different strategies. You could have income-based products, you could have growth products, but we're going to keep it simple for today. Now, when people roll over, let's say, old 401ks, retirement accounts, liquid that they may have in the bank, think about this for one moment. A client has $50,000 sitting in the bank. It's gaining, maybe if they're in a high yield savings plan, maybe 4%. They're switching from bank to bank every single year for like their whole life to secure this money. If they put it into a fixed index annuity product, their principal is protected. So foundational things about fixed index annuities is the principal will always be protected. It'll never go down. So something simple I always say is, do you want to be in the market where it's kind of going up or down like an EKG machine? Or do you want to be in a safe place where when the market goes up, you go up? When the market goes down, your principal balance stays protected. Very simple. You're doing more of like a staircase as opposed to an EKG. Now, most of our clients, 65 plus, they know what an EKG machine is. Like, they've had it like happen, right? So they understand that difference. And really, clientele base, you would think it's 59 plus, people that are looking to retire. But a lot of times I'm finding people that have had a job and that have left the job. So if they've left the job, what did they do with the old account? There's probably people sitting here right now that have left a job and their old retirement account is simply sitting there, doing nothing but getting fees, getting charged, and not going up at all. So I would say the target market, really anybody who's alive, to be honest. But really, I try to target anybody between, like, say, 59 to 70, looking to protect their money, because you can't have, at, say, 65, 70 years old, your income or your potential income go down. You don't have time.
So what you're saying is our clientele are basically people that like to gain money and not lose it. I mean, that's really who it is. And the older people get, the less tolerance they can have for that sort of thing. So thanks so much, Thierry. Appreciate it. So Kendall, with you, why don't you explain who your first client was, and sort of kind of adding on top of what Thierry just said, how do you roll that into finding other opportunities that you capitalized on later?
Absolutely. My first client was my own mother. See, how many of you try to sell to your family, they look at you like, what do you know about life insurance? So my mom lost $27,000 in a month. I said, Mom, at the time she was 77. I said, you can't afford to lose anymore. She said, it's going to come back, Kendall. I said, look, Mom, he's just telling you that. She told me something. She said, you've been selling life insurance for 2 weeks. He been doing this for a career. I said, I've been your son for 47 years. Who got your best interest? So I had my mentor drive an hour to her house, sit at her dining room table. for her to think about it and say, nah, I don't want to do it. So I didn't put any pressure on her. She came back like 2 weeks later saying, you think I should do it? So that was my first client. So right now, you got friends, you got family members who don't trust you. Use an expert. My own mother, who I have best interest for, would not listen to me because I had just been doing life insurance. I just started. I was on commercials on TV. Now I'm doing life insurance. So that was my first client. And like Tierra said, 401ks. How many people right now are working at the same job from high school or college? Raise your hand. Nobody. So there's an old 401k just floating out there in space. Those are easy. All you got to do is ask the magic question, what else do you have that acts like life insurance that pays out upon death? Do you have an old 401k that's just floating out there? Those are easy transitions, very easy to find.
Yeah, I think we all end up in the insurance business coming from someplace else. Most of us. I know a lot of younger people are coming in here, but that's where we come from. So there's a lot of floating 401ks out there that we can at least take a look at, and that's how you learn the process. That's how you learn what the products are and how to compare them to what else is out there. Great job. Thanks so much. Allison.
Yes.
I don't think there's anyone better at actually connecting with their clients and understanding what their needs are than you. I've actually been on calls with you and your clients, and they just have full faith, full trust in what you're going to present. Can you kind of walk them through how you build that rapport and how you uncover the actual client's needs?
Yeah, thank you, John. I think that's the most important. I tell all my agents, we are not sales reps, we are problem solvers. Our job is to find the problem and then bring the solution to the client, which I'm a firm believer that that's how we establish trust, and they know that we really do have their best interest in mind. So how does this start? My best advice is to get into annuities the way I did and find the money in your insurance appointments. And when you go through your financial inventory and you're sitting with someone, it's a great way for them to start to trust you, especially if they're going to trust you with their retirement. So when I go through the financial needs inventory, I would always ask the question, listen, John, what do you have that if you were to pass would behave like life insurance? That could be a 401k, IRA, CDs, life insurance itself, and they would be comfortable enough to tell me, okay, I have a 401k, and I would go, that's perfect. You have about 50,000 in there. I always like to use that number because if it's lower, they're not afraid to tell it's lower. And if it's a lot more, they get a little offended that you use that number and they go, no, it's like 200,000. And then in that moment, don't get excited and start to go, look, I got something for this. No, you just say, that's perfect. And I'm assuming that's for your retirement, correct? I'm assigning it off so that I don't get the objection later that they don't need the life insurance policy I'm selling because they have a 401k. So as soon as I assign it off, go through the appointment, meet their needs, close out on the life insurance policy because I'm using that whole time to build trust. So by the end of that appointment, they trust me, they gave me their banking. Now I go back to visit. Listen, John, that 401k? How much money can you afford to lose? Well, none of it. That's what I thought. Listen, I have some information that I think might benefit you. Let's set up an appointment to where we can review this together. Go ahead and grab your statement. I'm going to go ahead and run this through with with our retirement planning center, and we're going to go ahead and compare apples to apples, and just come back and show you what some of your options are, so that maybe you can secure what you have. I don't even talk about moving it, rolling it over. I just say, look, just so you can secure what you currently have, and you don't see a risk of loss. That's it. So at that time, booking another appointment, and I would tell all of you, don't worry about, hey, I don't know the products, I'm worried about an annuity appointment. You can reach out to all of us at any time. Everyone's happy to give you information. And knowing the products, honestly, guys, I say the same in life insurance, it's a very small piece to the puzzle, because the biggest thing, like John is right, is the clients trusting that you have their best interest in mind. So go through your life insurance appointment, find the money, get the statement, build that trust, and let them know that you are there to solve their problem. And when you come back to that annuity appointment, my structure is the same. I'm finding their problem with the funds that they have, what they're using it for, and then I'm building a solution, because at the end of the day, I want my clients to buy me and my solution, know that I have their best interest in mind. And therefore, we're able to look at different products and put them in the right position.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And the way I look at annuity sales, they're not sales. Annuities are not sales, they're solutions. Because we have people that are concerned with outliving their money, losing money, paying fees, all these other things that we don't have. And so by asking the right questions, you're solving problems, you're not creating sales. So thanks so much. Austin. So Austin was one of the top IUL producers here, and he's done a great job with transitioning and adding a truckload of annuity volume as well too. And so why don't you, because we have such a high volume of IULs being written now, why don't you take a few minutes and explain the transition or the addition of annuities into the IUL business?
Yeah, absolutely. So the increase in IUL production is obviously prominent across the board. Everyone's doing it. And a lot of people, appears to, as a lot of agents kind of still fear the annuities. But if you think about it, the psychology and the intent is still the same. The product is different. The clients are coming to IULs because they've probably tried other things, and they're seeing IULs are being used and proposed for supplemental retirement income strategies, tax advantage strategies, and stuff like that, and also liquidity throughout their life. And so during that time, the client's already there for money strategies. And so when you're going through those presentations and those conversations for the IUL, just be mindful and look out for like 3 different topics. Like when you're seeing why they're there, you identify, hey, do you have anything already like 401ks, IRAs? Have you tried anything for retirement? And then those conversations come up. Market volatility, the IULs are sexy to them because they protect from market losses. So they're thinking of that as well. And all of those conversations that are happening during the IUL can also be extended over to the FIA. Don't pivot and just go sell them an FIA instead. Have those conversations, identify the money, and then see if, hey, maybe the FIA is a better fit. Maybe you have a 55-year-old where an IUL doesn't even make sense. I always like to say that the IUL is new money, FIAs are old money. So like if a client has $100,000 in a bank account, there's a good chance I'm not putting it in an IUL. I just want to protect it, preserve it, compound it, and not have associated fees with it, whereas the IUL is going to come with those added costs. We'll put that in the FIA, but they still have new money. They want to still contribute monthly. We're going to go into the IUL direction where they're putting in $500, $1,000, $2,000 per month. So you have a lot of expansion that you could go both ways with the IUL client because the psychology behind why they're even there in the first place and the intention is identical, and it just transfers right over. And it makes it a very seamless sell. And at the same time, it also makes you not look biased to one product from their perspective. You become more authoritative to where you could you're recommending this, and you're weighing the options for them. And so you're more of a consultant and not a salesperson. You're like, hey, this may be a better fit because of the scenario you just presented to me. And therefore it's pretty easy, I would say, to pivot over and just add it to your line of business. Don't stop what you're doing, but add it.
No, never stop what you're doing. And the other part of that too is if you're running IUL leads and run an IUL volume and you come across an opportunity, just ask for help. And there's so many people here that are willing to help you. Thanks much. Johnny. All right, so I talked about how my first annuity paid me a little bit. What was with us? What was the size of the first annuity that you issued?
$6 million.
$6 million. What was the commission on that?
$324,000.
Say that again. $324,000. Okay. What did you do with that money?
So I was able to build my own financial portfolio for my family, invested into private equity, and I started a trucking company.
So he started a trucking company. So it creates residual income as well too. So by doing what he does in selling life insurance, he came across an incredible opportunity. He closed it, he got paid on it, and he was able to invest and build some passive income outside of that, and still give him some seed money for the business as well too. Now with a $6 million annuity, there's obviously a little bit more involved, but not a whole lot more. You've closed smaller ones in the past, right?
Correct.
The process is not a whole lot different, is it? So it doesn't matter the dollar amount, it's the process is really simple. So what is the process for an annuity? So as far as the initial application, suitability, run through that really quickly on what that process looks like.
Yeah, so, getting down with the client, like they had mentioned, finding the money, uncovering it, figuring out the client's goals, objectives, running through the application, staying on top of them, following up with them. Every time there's a status update, making sure you're following the process, keeping up with them. And that way, whenever it's time to, actually roll the money in, it's not so hard to ask for the money because it's already there. You already established that relationship with the client.
Yep. And so I will not guarantee that if you guys make it your mission to go out and write annuities after this and uncover all the money you can, I won't guarantee that you'll ever write a $6 million annuity. But I will guarantee if you don't try, you won't. So it starts with one, and you never know where it's going to go from there. So you guys make it a mission, learn everything you can the 3 days you're here, take it home, put it into action, and then I guarantee some of you will be up here next year. So thank you guys very much.